because we've talked about on the podcast before, when you're trying to make a hiring decision as a law firm owner, what is that caseload or level at which you can afford to bring somebody in, but you're still managing an active caseload? And how much time do you have to mentor and grow the attorney that comes in? So there's all these different variables that kind of go into the calculation. So I think if you're evaluating as an attorney looking at opportunities, that's one of the things to really pay attention to is, what comfort level would you have being fully autonomous, so to speak, in terms of the practice, and just having somebody hand you a file and saying, go figure it out, versus somebody actually walking you step by step through the process. And somewhere on that sort of continuum is where your comfort level is going to reside. And that's never going to be a perfect calculation. There's going to be times when seasons are busier than others and the partner, so to speak, just for using that partner and associate kind of model, isn't available to provide all the mentoring that you may need or think you need at that point. And maybe that's the partner's methodology, right? Like, here you go, let me see what you can do with it. I know it's sort of a low risk scenario, and it'll be okay if you don't do everything that I would have done in that case or what have you. But so that, I think, is a really important sort of assessment that you can make as a newer attorney, or looking at the legal options of what really fits your personality. How do you best work? What environment is good for you? And I think one of the things the article highlighted was sort of the difference between a more populated area and a less populated area, because legal services are provided to people oftentimes. And so if you're in a lower population area, there may not be as much work or sufficient work to support a full-time practice. And so what does that look like? And one of my thoughts over time is, like, how could we, being in more of a county seat area, can we reach out to counties around us to provide services there, but we may not be able to be there full time because there may just not be enough work there. So again, kind of having those sort of discussions and thoughts long term is kind of a helpful thing. But from that perspective of the newer attorney kind of looking at the options, that's one thing I think is really important.
Yeah, and it's something that the Indiana Supreme Court, talking about our own home state of Indiana, the Indiana Supreme Court has highlighted how there's a shortage, an attorney shortage, particularly in the rural counties across the state of Indiana. We've got a ton of attorneys that are in the Indianapolis area, whether that's the north side of Indianapolis where you are, or the south side, or Marion County itself where the city of Indianapolis is, and all the kind of surrounding counties around that area. But as you get further out from the big cities, you get fewer and fewer attorneys, and there may be opportunity there. With an attorney shortage, it might be a great option for a young attorney coming out of law school to get on board with, maybe an established practice that is in a smaller town that can handle, that has the workload currently for the folks that are in that area, to get some experience and to really make an impact on that community. I mean, that's the Indiana Supreme Court is highlighting it for a reason. They understand that there is a need for more attorneys to go out into the rural counties, and that would be a way to get started in your law practice.